Welcome everybody to another MB Autohaus tutorial. This is Rich from MB Autohaus, and this week we are going to be doing the Mercedes-Benz engine air filters remove. Again, this is for most Mercedes, your more common ones like your anything that had a 550 in it. But basically, if your engine cover looked like any one of these two, which was your 112, 113 engines, your 272s and your 273 motors, which was V6, V8 models. So if it looks like this, I'm going to show you how to remove the engine filters. There's two, one on each side. Tools you will be needing is a T25 Torx screwdriver, or sometimes you could use a T25 socket, a 1/4 inch, and the silicone spray is, I'll show you how you can use it. It makes it a little bit easier going back on. It doesn't roll the gasket. I suggest watch the whole video first before trying it yourself. Alright, so one of my subscribers actually asked me, how do you change your engine air filter on the R class? If you ever seen one of these cars, the firewall sticks out further and it almost like tucks the engine inside. There's actually a cover there that you can remove and get access to the engine air box. So I'm going to show this video first, and then it will follow along with the engine air filters removal. So now I am going to use my E8 inverted Torx socket. This is on a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch ratchet. Now this bolt right here is right in the center underneath the windshield, close right next to the firewall. So what I do is I loosen it and then I pull it all the way out. There's a long screw. This is one of the bolts that holds that center cover in place. There's 4 bolts on the side, 2 on each side. They're 13 millimeters. I removed those as well. I have removed the seal that goes all the way across already. Now this is the 213s. I removed those. There's 2 on each side. Now this is what the cover looks like. It's a big cover, fairly big. But once you have removed that, now you have exposed the engine air box itself. And then from here, what we're going to do is remove the engine covers. I'm going to show you the 2 different styles, both having V6 and V8s. They're both the same. First one we're going to start with is a 112 engine. The 113 looks exactly the same except 2 more cylinders. So what I do is I remove the two air intake ducts on the side. You basically just pull it apart. Some are easier than others. I put them to the side of where I took them off. This is the front cover of the engine air filter box. I pull up, and then what I do is I pull the sides up, and then I have to slide it out towards me. If you notice, there's these tabs that have to be slid in. Alright, so if you notice here, pointing to where these tabs go into place, that is where the 2 have to slide in. So now at this point, I could take the airbox out. I just pry up on the front and then towards the rear. Now there's 4 clips that hold this in place. Sometimes these come out. Make sure to re-secure them prior to putting the airbox back in. Alright, so now here is your 272. 273s also looks the same. Again, that is the 8 cylinder. This is on the 6. What I did is I pried the front cover off of your airbox. Again, there is clips on there. And right here is actually a hose that is connected to the airbox, that is for your secondary air injection system. That's going to have to come off as well. First, what I do is remove the air ducts. This is like the other one. I just have to pry them apart. Start towards the back, then remove the one closest towards the front. Same thing on the opposite side. Little quick tip, these do look like they're interchangeable, but they have different angles to them. Best thing to do is once you take it off, put it on the side of where it's supposed to go. It makes it a lot easier. So now I have taken this off. Unlike the 112, there is a retaining clip towards the back that holds it towards the mass airflow sensor. You're going to need a little pocket screwdriver or anything just to pry it off, just like I did there. And this is the hose for your secondary air injection. I removed this as well. You got to make sure that you put this back in, or when this where that little blower or the pump for it actually activates, it's going to make a really loud noise. It's going to sound like your motor has blown up. Alright, so now I've taken the engine airbox out. Again, there's 4 clips that hold this in place, a lot like your 112, 113 engines. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the engine air filters themselves. I'm going to need that T25. You could use a socket, or you could use a screwdriver, T25 Torx. So there's 4 bolts all together. Now remember, there's an air filter on both sides, 1 on each side. So what I do is here I'm using my 1/4 inch T25 socket to remove this. So now I've gotten them loose. They do not come out all the way. Now this is what the engine air filter looks like. What you do is you remove it, and then you clean out all the dirt, and then you put the new box in. When cleaning this out, make sure you blow it dry. You don't want air getting in here. One, it makes the engine air filter soggy, and you might get air, you might get moisture and water in the engine. And even if you don't want to replace them, you just want to clean them out, these do pick up a decent amount of dirt. What you can do is just take it, shake them out, shake out the dirt, take out the filters, and then just reinstall them. Here we're installing the new ones. What you do is you face it down with the rubber sticking up, and then it just go alongside, just sliding it into place, starting on each side until it's completely secured in place. And then once I have done that, I place it back on the airbox itself, secure the 4 screws, and then I do the same thing to the opposite side. Now what I'm going to show you next is basically a tip. This is where the silicone spray comes into play. It makes it a lot easier installing this airbox, especially on vehicles like your R class where it's hard to get back there. So what I do is I take the silicone spray. This is a wet type. And I spray the O-ring here. Now once I have sprayed it, I just run my finger along there, making sure that it's lubricated, but it's not completely soaked. Reason for, you don't want anything to go into mass airflow sensor. This is a hot mass, and if these get wet, they do tend to mess up. So now I've sprayed it, and now I'm going to re-secure my airbox. If you haven't noticed yet, these go onto these rubber like dowels, I guess, that are on the engine valve covers. There's 2 on each side. So what I do is I find the front ones, I secure it where it's so like almost right on top of it. That's how I know that the ones in the back should be in place of where they should be. And then I start towards the rear. I feel around till I see where the mass airflow sensor is, and then I lightly push down. It should just go right into place.